Hey guys, it's on screen, off screen again. We were going to have Lauren introduce us, but she decided to chicken out. So I'm introducing us again. We watch movies, we read books, we go into media and we look for things that are going to uplift us and we try to share that with you. We appreciate you guys watching. Like, subscribe, tell us where we're wrong, tell us where we're right, all that good stuff. I will start this week out with something that absolutely surprised the crap out of me. The greatest beer run ever. Have you watched this, Josh?
It's still on my
Okay.
list, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
I was so surprised by this movie. I thought this movie would suck. Straight up suck. Zac Efron is the
So,
main
hold on.
character.
If you
Yeah.
thought it would suck, why did you watch it?
Because you mentioned that it could be good, and I was like, I'll try it. I don't know why I watched this movie. I don't know why I watched this movie. The trailer for this, it's not a good trailer. I don't think it describes what you're actually watching. This is one of the most effective anti-war movies that I've ever seen, and it shouldn't be as good, in my opinion, as it is. It has a 6.88 on IMDb, and I think it easily deserves a 7.5. Easily. Um, Zach Efron does an incredible job in this movie. He gets lost in the character, and you 100% believe him as this blue collar goes to the bar, messes around with the guy that he is in this movie. He has this accent of a blue collar worker that works in the lives in the suburbs somewhere and just like goes to work and chills the shit with all the guys that are around him and messes around and talks crap and like he is this character and he does such a good job with it. Basically, the idea is you have Vietnam and you have these people that are saying, "Bring all our guys home. We don't need this war. People are dying for no reason." That side of things, and he's very much on the side of things like it's America. We've got to keep those communists out. And you see the dichotomy of the two different ideals very, very well done in this movie. Both of them feel like they mean well, but both of them are wrong in some ways. I don't feel like I was getting preached one side or the other. I was being shown this is what two people think. And then our main character has just kind of never followed through with anything in his life. So he gets called out on that and he says, "You know what? I'm going to bring beers to my buddies who are in Vietnam." And he figures out how to get on a boat and go across to Vietnam. And him with a pack of beers decides to walk along Vietnam and deliver these beers. Like, that's the movie. That movie sounds stupid. That sounds like a stupid movie. But it was really well done. The cinematography is really good. The acting is all really good. The as he's going through Vietnam and he's meeting these buddies, he's saying, "This isn't a joke. What are you doing here? Stop. This isn't funny." They think that he's a CIA agent because what other dumbass would be walking around with beers in his beers during a war zone? Like, what dumbass would be doing that? So everyone thinks he's CIA, so they give him a pass. And in the real life story, this is based on a true story. That is actually what happened. They legitimately thought that he was a CIA agent. So all of the generals and the leaders of this company are just giving him a pass and letting him talk with his buddies because they think that he's going to get them pushed into the front lines. Um, but he talks to these different buddies, and he goes from place to place, and he's slowly getting more and more up north, where the war is worse and worse. And he runs into one buddy who is like, you don't get it. You don't get what we're actually doing here. Put on this helmet. We're gonna run it through this forest while people shoot at us. I want you to get it." So they run through a forest while people are shooting at them. They get into a ditch while people are shooting at them. And this guy, who was just going on a fun beer run, starts to understand how terrible war really is. And this place where he he was lost, where he doesn't understand, where he has this buddy who could die at any moment, he finally just starts to get it. And you as the audience member also understand how much weight this person is under. The fact that he could just die tomorrow. You're feeling that pain and you're feeling that heaviness inside of this movie. And it helps you expand your mind and realize how hard this really is. So he leaves this buddy and he finds out that there's been a rush and there's been a bombing, and he can't get back in because he doesn't have the credentials. They find out that he's just some guy delivering beer and not a CIA agent. So he connects with the news, and the news people are like, you've been all of these different places. You're not supposed to be able to get there. And he says, yeah, I've gone there. I've seen it. I'm trying to help my buddies. I'm trying to give them some beer. It's like, that's not the point. We want to show what actually is going on. We want to show the truth. And after this bombing, the news guy, who is played by Russell Crowe, does a really good job. He brings him back into this zone so that he can find his buddy after he's been blown to pieces, after everyone's been thrown apart. Nobody likes him because he's part of the news crew, or he's this fake person who was being disingenuous and wasn't part of the CIA. Everything about him feels like a lie. But he gets to see the truth on how painful this is. He delivers all these beers, goes back home, and all of his beer buddies are like, hey, are we kicking ass over there? Are we taking names? Like, what's going on? And he says, no, we're not. We lost a friend. When you have to run through the forest and you have these bullets flying at you, it's not fun. When you talk to these immigrants who are there, these people that live there, it's not fun. They're constantly in pain. They're constantly in fear. And I don't know why we're there anymore either. It leaves you with a lot to think about. It leaves you with a big impact, with great acting, great cinematography, really good music. This is a good movie, and more people should watch it. It's worth watching.
How old is this movie? Is it new?
2 years old, something like that. It's pretty new.
Okay, I've never heard of it, but I want to now. Like, it's. I think it's sounds like a premise that people need to watch recently. I feel like a lot of people kind of forget that part of everything, because I definitely have like brothers who are like, I don't know, they always kind of like joke about like, yeah, we'll go to war, and people are like so quick to just be like, yeah, patriotism, but it's like, once again, let's see what that actually entails. And so I like that it brought into that thing where you said, he's like, are we kicking ass? And he's like, no, we lost a friend. Like you said, I think that's a good part to focus on. So, yeah, once again, why did you think it was going to be bad?
The trailer looks stupid. It looks like the just beer run aspect of the show when it's so much deeper than that. And the trailer, I think it would be hard to make a trailer to show really what this movie is, because it does have a lot of impact. And the way they broadcast it was like, Zac Efron decides to deliver beers when it's so much more.
Oh, okay. Like they didn't even touch on the war aspect.
Very, very little. Like,
Just that the war
delivering...
exists.
Yeah, but that's it. None of the deeper aspects of this show. Because really it's about a guy who doesn't understand coming to understand, and they just show the part of the silly guy who's delivering beers, and how fun is that? And yeah, there's just a lot more to the story.
Yeah, that's going on my list. Where can people watch that?
It's on Apple TV.
Okay.
Yeah, Apple TV's got some bangers, and I didn't think this was going to be one of them.
I've noticed that like Apple TV tends to have kind of the stuff I like to enjoy, where it's like you have a meaning behind the media instead of just like a money grab, or I mean, some artistic expression is kind of cool, but like I kind of like to have a moral behind my story. And I feel like Apple TV is starting to do that and doing it well. Because I think that they hit on like mental health well, especially like mental health with men. And I feel like they hit these topics really well, done well and gracefully. I guess that's not the word I was looking for, but
With tact.
with tact. There we go. Yeah.
I agree. This movie shouldn't be as good as it is. I think it's excellent, honestly.
So, what would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I don't know. I want to simmer on a little bit, but right now, like 7.9, just below an 8. But it's good. It genuinely is better than IMD would tell you it is. It just is.
So, who would you be recommending this to?
Um, if you're a die-hard romance fan, there is nothing of that in this, but there is some good war shots in it. There's some good comedy in it. I think anyone would enjoy this movie.
I would say because um, my mom hates any war movie ever. Uh,
Okay.
with the caveat that it just makes her very sad. Um, would this be a movie that you'd say she not watch, or one that would be okay? Because the part that she doesn't like is that you're painting somebody out to be a villain, and she usually this kind of haunts me because I remember we were driving home one night and she's like, "Oh, I hate war movies," and she was crying, and I was like, "Oh, didn't think that was going to impact you so much," and she's like, "I just think of everybody. They're a little boy and they played in the creek on Sunday night with their friends, and now they're fighting this war," and so she's like, "I just can't handle that you can paint this person's life but not that person's life, and it's okay to take that life." So is it showing both sides, or do you think that would be a no, mom, don't watch this?
This will make your mom sad. One of my
Mm.
favorite parts of the entire movie is when Zac Efron comes back home and the friend that died, he goes to the mom and he starts saying, "I'm sorry." And the mom says, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault at all." And he says, "I pushed him into it. I told him he's being a pussy for not going. Like, why is it that big of a deal? Stop complaining. Stop whining. Stop being so small." And I just didn't get it. I didn't understand. I thought he was just being a pansy for not wanting to go. If I was younger, I would have gone. And I'm sorry. It's my fault. It's my fault that he decided to enlist. It's my fault. And it's like Zac Efron is ridiculously good in this movie. Um, and that's kind of hitting the point of what your mom is talking about with the pain. Like, this mother just lost her son, and
Mm.
he's dealing with the fact that he pushed him to go over to Vietnam because you got to fight those commies. Um, so it hits the points. It's probably impactful to your mom, especially with the way that she sounds like she thinks.
Mhm.
But it also hits those points and is going to impact your mom and probably leave her very sad.
Mm. Cool. Not
That
cool
make
that you're making my mom cry, but I'm just kidding.
yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. It's a good movie. Anyway, we'll go on to our next topic. Let's just go straight down the list. Josh, what's yours?
So I feel like the better topic to kind of go into here is MASH. Uh, this has always been like a bonding show for me and my mom.
Cool.
A, because it was always on, and B, because my hyper religious mother actually was willing to watch it, um, and actually enjoyed it. Um, Anything modern, she basically hates because it's all disgusting, and she's kind of right. Um,
K dramas.
Yeah, turn around K dramas.
yeah, but so I kind of turned this one on to just like be a background show to kind of just enjoy. I didn't start with the beginning. Uh, MASH has phases, so there's like the beginning phase where it's very silly and ridiculous, and there's the ending phase where it's very serious and tries to tell real war stories, and is very symbolic to the Korean conflict and the Vietnam conflict. Um, and then there's like what I think is like the magic medium section where they're trying to like transitioning. So you get doctors playing pranks on each other and making quippy comments and making fun of each other and not having any of the like face level respect. But you also have very serious conditions that makes everybody get really serious. And like I think it's an important representation of like how things were over there. Like we were just talking about like the very serious nature of war, but that's obviously not the full extent that happens there. There's um, the brotherhoods that are formed in that you can't form in any other way, and the silliness and the way that it these characters react to very serious situations, that kind of stuff. I love this show. I think it's fantastic. There's it's not a very good medical show if that's what you're looking for. Yes, they are doctors, but they also do like there's an episode of Dr. Mike talking about some of the medical stuff that's represented, and he's like, "This is the worst showing of CPR I have ever seen in my life." And he's dead right. Like that CPR scene, like there's a reason they kind of like don't go near that again. Um, but it is at the same time pretty representative of like what mobile hospitals were kind of like at that time. Um, you get very dynamic, interesting characters. Like it's just a great show. You get some seriousness, you get some laughs, you get great characters all across the board. It This is just a really solid return to at any point in time, and I was honestly really surprised at how well this show aged. And like I think if it became popular again, there's a very controversial character, Klinger, who dresses up like a girl to try and get kicked out of the war, right? I was watching that and I was like, I think both the left and the right side would try and claim Klinger as on their side of that argument.
What do you mean?
He's a guy that dresses up like a girl. So on the left, you have, uh, you know, Klinger dressing up like a girl and them being like, yeah, trans rights, trans activism, right? And on the same side, you'd have the right side being like, he was faking it. He's just pretending. He's pretending to be crazy, therefore he's dressing up like a girl. So I see both sides looking at that character and being like,
Nah.
look other side. And it's very interesting to have that kind of perspective of like, I don't know how that would go in this day and age because of the way it's portrayed and the character that he is and all that kind of stuff. So it's very interesting to look at this in this day and age. Um, but he would be the only controversial character of any kind. So it's clean, it's wholesome, it's positive. Like I feel like
An
the
enjoyable, good show.
point of the show is like persevering and hope through such dark times. Um, watch this show if you haven't. It's fantastic. That's what I've got to say about it.
How many seasons are there of MASH? Did it go on for a long time?
There's
Pretty
like
long.
9 seasons, and it still holds the record for most watch season finale per capita. Uh, Game of Thrones has wiped the floor with it, but like they have more population, so if you do it by per capita, MASH is the most watched season finale of all time.
Yeah. Like people got off work. People like it was kind of like a holiday when Mash the season finale aired.
Yeah.
Everyone watched it.
It's an interesting, like, if you go all the way to the finale, it's they talk about it in their documentary about the show of like, how do we end a war that people know ended and how it ended, and also make it feel satisfying and impactful the way we've been making the rest of this show feel. And they knock it out of the park. They do a great job. Like, I say that the beginning is silly, but like, that's not a bad thing. Um, if you were to look at it from like a more analytical point of view, you'd say, well, that's how wars start. You have all the enlisteds coming in, eager to fight, fight against the communism, fight for the freedom of the South Koreans. And then as the war drags on, that hope dwindles. That the humor that they would feel would dwindle as they're pushed in, and don't have modern benefits like you only serve for 3 months, then you're pulled out, then you're put back in. Like, at that time, you were in until the war was over, or your time was up. So I love it.
Yeah, it would be interesting because, like you said, having it nowadays, I mean, like, you scroll through Instagram and TikTok, and there's people like joking how they would get out of a draft and stuff. So it's like kind of interesting on how they would do that show. And I don't know that you could get a MASH in today's age. You'd have to set it back, I feel.
I don't know.
I don't think you would get it.
I don't think you would get it either, because everything's so, you have to pick a side. That's why I think you wouldn't be able to get it. But for those people who do make those, which some of them are very funny, I just saw one where they were like, "This is why you don't want me in the army," and it's a gay guy, and he's like, I need stuff for my cuticles, and I need this, that, and the other. And then it's a clip of like an actual sergeant in the army. He's like, "You can be a drone operator. We'll take you. Please just come. Like, we're so desperate for people." And he's like, "I need my Starbucks." And he's like, "I survive on Starbucks," and holds up a Starbucks. He's like, "You can be a drone operator. Come join. We're so desperate." It's so funny. But those people, it's like, have them watch Klinger. Let's see how well it actually goes. Like, if there's an actual need with an actual war that happens. Like, look at how much the army really cares when it's that desperate,
Funny story about MASH. That's how I got my nickname, Fru, which is weird because it's from Lorraine. My mom went Lorraine Nalu Fru Fru, and then it just got clipped to Fru. But
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, have you seen all of MASH too?
Mm-mm. I haven't seen any MASH, but my mom and my stepdad would watch it, and then that's where the nickname came from, and I was like,
MASH is absolutely worth watching. I honestly should have watched it more than I have. I've seen it once, all the way through. But it's a good show. Good show. All right, we'll go to your second topic in a second, Josh. What is your first topic, Lauren?
Spiritferer. So this is I think you can play it on Steam. I played it on the Switch. It's a cozy game. It deals with grief. So the premise of this game is you start out and like you get like awoken by this Grim Reaper character, and they're like, "Oh hey, you're the new Grim Reaper. Gonna tell you just kind of ferry people to this gate, this spirit gate, and you send them through." And so you're like, "Okay," and they're like, "Oh, here's your boat. Go pick people up and bring them to this gate." And so you start off with like this tiny boat, and you have to like make these shelters. So you have kind of like a guest room to start off with. And then you build like a kitchen, and you build like all these things. And as you're picking up these spirits, you start to realize that you know these spirits, like the more you talk with them. And you kind of have to help these spirits come to terms with like that they're dying and like to get their things in order. And then you realize that like you know these people very personally as you're going along with it. And like one of my favorite things about this game is it's really pretty. I love the animation to it. The music's great. And I love that you can hug all of like it's actually part of the game mechanic is that you need to go around and hug everybody because but depends on their personality because there's like this one I think it's like they kind of take forms of like animals. So I think it's this one lioness that she's like, "Nope, don't hug me. You've already like hugged me like today. I don't need another hug or whatever." So like I always like watch her bar to see when I can hug her again because I love it when she'll accept a hug. But yeah, so you design your ship on how you want it to be set up as you're picking these people up, and you're getting supplies as you're ferrying from island to island, and you're unlocking new areas until you can finally take everybody basically to this spirit gate. And you start like unlocking your own past as well, and the more spirits you take through the gate the more powers you get, so you can like get the double jump or the hang glider. And like these stories get deeper and deeper as you go on. And oh, I was full on bawling when I finished this game. It takes about like 60 hours to play. um and it's like I say I was bawling, but it is a cozy game. Like I'll normally be watching something as I'm playing this. I think I was watching the middle while I was playing this, but I'm on my second playthrough of it. Like I let it rest for a couple years, and now I'm going back and playing it again. But it just handles grief and like moving on so well, and I love the themes of this game. And once again, love the animation, love the music. It's a really zen game. I love it.
So I'm not usually into cozy games, so it's not my thing. But I have played this, and I played Gris a while ago. And have you seen Gris? Have you played Gris Learn at all?
Uh-uh.
Okay, I think Gris is gorgeous, like absolutely phenomenally beautiful. And I was looking for another game that would be really really pretty, and I came across this one. Um, I'm like I said, I'm usually not into cozy kind of games, not my thing. But this one is really good. All the characters are very enjoyable. The music is beautiful. The story is very touching. The animation is absolutely astounding. It's a good time, and it's something that you can absolutely play with something else and still get a really deep impact. And this show is all about deep impacts, and this game absolutely delivers that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I found out with Spiritfarer you can actually play co-op, but I think it has to be split screen. I don't think you can do online. But because you're like this the design for the character too is just really cute. Like you have this big floppy hat and kind of like pirate attire, and then you have this fluffy cat with you as your companion, and then you have like the spirit orb that becomes um your tools that you need, like a pickaxe, a saw, a hang glider, and things like that. So I kind of want to try playing it with somebody split screen, but like they have to be into cozy games. So like know that you're like watching something else as you're doing this.
Yeah,
But
it's kind of like Studio Ghibli, the game,
yeah,
sort of.
yeah. Because like you also with your kitchen you like find everybody's favorite foods to go give them and stuff, and it was like my favorite thing, trying to figure out what their favorite foods were and then always giving them a favorite meal every time you gave them food. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
weirdly super fun. It's a good game.
yeah.
Um, what I mean, you're playing this the second time. What's the rating for this game?
I would say 8.5. Um, if after I finished it the first time, I probably would have said like 9.5 because I was like, oh, I was crying unconsolably for like 2 days. It was great. And I was like just trying to find, like, I remember trying to find other games like it to play. Because have you finished the game, Conlon?
Yeah.
There's the Jackie. I don't know why, but the hyena character just tore me to shreds. It made me so sad that because I think spoilers, uh, Jackie tries to leave for like the Spirit Bridge by herself. And I'm like, no, the whole point is we go together so you're not alone when you go. It's it tore me up because Jackie was a nurse and so she's always like, I have to take care of everybody else. I can't stand to have somebody take care of me. And it's like, no, someone's gonna do it for you, Jackie. We're gonna do this together. It's just wrecked me. But yeah, so I'm changing it. It's a 9. It's really
Okay.
good.
Okay.
So
It's a good game. I would give it, just because it's not necessarily my kind of game, like a 7.5, maybe a little higher than that, but it's still very, very enjoyable.
yeah, I'm a cozy girl, so 9.
It's like a
So
perfect game for you.
I can confirm it is on Steam.
Nice.
So I'm sure remote co-op is an option there for you if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Steam has it listed as a 10 out of 10 with 41,000 reviews.
Yeah, it's super highly rated. I saw it on a top 10 indie games, and that's how I came across it. When I was looking, I might give it an 8. Like it's a really good game, Josh. You should.
That's very
I would
well done.
recommend you play it.
Oh, I just added it to my wish list. I'm sold. I'm going to try this.
I already
Nice.
bought this, so it should be in our shared library.
If you want me
Okay.
to be the cat, I'll play with you.
The second thing I want to bring up is, Conlon, you say you're not a cozy gamer.
No, I'm not.
How many hours do you have in Golf with Friends? How many hours do you have? This is probably a little bit of a stretch, but Slay the Spire.
I don't think those are cozy games.
Different.
You define cozy games as doing other things with them, like watching shows. Like I will give you Slay the Spire. Maybe is a little bit too much of a stretch, but Balatro and Golf with Friends. How many hours do you have in those games, Conlon? And don't tell me Golf with Friends is not a cozy game, because that absolutely is.
Golf with Friends is a cozy game that I can just play with my wife. Do I play Golf with Friends without friends? No, I don't. But I guess you could call that one a cozy game. I'm not a solo player cozy game kind of guy. If you count those rogue card likes as cozy games, which I don't, then I'm a cozy game fanatic because I freaking love those games. But I don't think those are cozy games.
I think they absolutely are, but
yeah,
I
think cozy game like this game, or what's that one that you love, Lauren, that I don't like at all? The farming one.
Stardew Valley.
Yeah, Stardew is a cozy game, and I don't like that game at all.
I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, I would define like cozy game, meaning like there's no real battle or strategy. It's just, and like you can take your own pace, and so like no time limit, no real pressure basically. So it's just cozy. You don't have to panic about
Slay the Spire.
what is Slay the Spire.
You're literally trying to make perfect choices with your card selection and what you're doing so that you can get to the end and beat the boss. And if you don't do it, then you die a horrible death and have to restart.
Yeah, because like
it's a roguelike, but it's also no pressure. There's no time limit. You often listen to podcasts or watch a show while you're playing it. You sit there and you comfort.
You have to think about exactly what you're doing consistently, so that
you have to do that in Stardew too. Stardew has dungeon crawling.
Well, I would say you don't have to do dungeon crawling. Like you can choose to do that.
Right. And my point is Stardew may not be Conlan's game, but I will argue that he definitely has his version of cozy games. And
Oh
like
yeah.
Slay the Spire, it's a cozy game for Conlan.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
It's like
if
cuz
that's a cozy game, then yes, I really do like cozy games. Literally next week, I'm going to talk about the DLC they made for Slay the Spire. That is awesome. Because I freaking love those games. I love them,
Yeah. I'm saying that's
but I
your
just
cozy
wouldn't call
game.
them cozy.
yeah,
Okay. You
think
do
that
all the
there's
same thing Lauren does with her cozy games.
I think there's an actual genre called cozy games, and
That's
Slay the
okay.
Spire doesn't go into those.
Yeah,
I may be
like
wrong, but like when I look up, because I'll literally uh, search in Steam like cozy games, and it will pop up with like slice of life stuff and like build your farm. And so I would say like your farming
is
sim
Farming
is almost,
Simulator a cozy game? Yeah.
I would almost say it is.
It's not on the list of cozy games, but Breath of the Wild is.
That's
Interesting.
surprising.
Yeah, I would not. I mean, it makes sense why I love it, but I wouldn't have uh, categorized that as cozy.
Yeah, I'm saying like if you want to look at the genre, I would say genre is slice of life, right?
Yeah,
That's what we're talking about. But if you say cozy game, I wouldn't say in my mind that's not a genre. That's a type of game where, like you said, there's no pressure. You often watch a show while playing it or whatever. It's you know, it's like
that.
that. And for me, I would put stuff like Slay the Spire in there or Balatro because that's how I'm enjoying the game and enjoying
Yeah.
it by being cozy.
You know how
Mm,
many people play like Lies of P or Bloodborne while they're listening to a podcast?
that's their
I've looked at so many
cozy.
Reddit threads where they're like, "This is my favorite kind of game because I can just listen to a podcast while I play this game." And I would not say that Bloodborne is a cozy game.
All right,
Right, but I would
everybody.
argue that those people only do it after having beaten it, and they're already so good at it that there's not the challenge there.
Well,
Right, they're just so into it. It may be a cozy game for them, but yes, I would not call it a cozy game. Whereas, like, Slay the Spire has no time limit, there is no pressure. You can take as long as you want to make your decisions.
I mean,
It-
yeah, I was like, with your definition of cozy, yeah, it is. Find your cozy.
yeah,
find your
that's
cozy.
that's my argument.
Hashtag find your cozy.
It's
Comment
Conlan's
your
cozy
cozy
game.
below.
Comment on your cozy below. Is your cozy Lies of P? Because then you are freaking God.
Is your cozy the soul games?
Is Demon Souls your just comfort zone? Is
That's
that
my
your
hell.
comfy game?
Okay, so is Slay the Spire a cozy game? Is kind of what we were just talking about. On the Reddit thread, is Slay the Spire a cozy game? The initial poster said it's 70% cozy game.
Okay.
This person says, very cozy. I repeatedly play it till I fall asleep. Um, this person says, yes, it's cozy in the same way a difficult crossword or jigsaw puzzle is cozy. They require focus, and Spire does have stakes, but you can also play at your own pace, and it's not like other roguelikes that you're always stressful. Um, you're not always focused on dodging or doing things against the clock. So I have a Reddit thread full of people agreeing with me that it's at least partially
Cozy.
cozy game. And I think
Oh,
that bringing it up like thinking of it like a crossword puzzle or a jigsaw
I think
is
it's a good argument.
is the best argument for it. I honestly agree with the initial post saying it's like 70% cozy because I too do not think Slay the Spire when it comes to when I think cozy games, but I think of cozy games more of like a how you enjoy a specific game. Like I enjoy Farming Sim as a cozy game, but Farming Sim wasn't listed on any list I found as a cozy game. But I enjoy it like a cozy game. And like you can go hard into Slay the Spire, people can also go really hard into Farming Sim. Like so
My one game
that's what
that
I have.
I do like Spiritfarer, and I like Power Wash Simulator, and I would call Power Wash Simulator a cozy game.
Chris.
What?
Gris, the one you
Gris.
were just talking about. You
I
have
don't-
raved about Gris so much.
I love Gris, but I don't know if I'd call it a cozy game.
It's absolutely a cozy game.
It's a platformer.
It's the easiest platformer you have ever played.
That's
Is this
fair.
GRISS?
Yeah,
Just
it's
GRIS.
on the. It's in the Steam library.
It's
you
in
can
the
play
Steam
it.
library. You can play it. It's great. You should play it.
It's
Good.
very
Don't just
mediocre.
Google
It's just
that
very
word.
pretty.
I don't think it's very
Wasn't
mediocre. I think
planning
it's beautiful. And if you want to talk about dealing with grief, it's great. It's like what the whole thing is about.
Okay.
I think it's gorgeous. Great game. Anyway, Spiritfarer, guys, you should play it, especially if you're into cozy games.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Josh, let's
Slice
go
of
to your
life games.
Slice of life games. Yes. Josh, let's go to your second topic, and I have no idea what this is.
Okay, well, good, because this is a game that I think both my co-hosts should stream and play through. It is only an hour long. It is not long at all. It is an indie developed horror game.
There it goes.
It does everything wrong with horror games. It gives you a gun and reuses the stuff the same way of scaring you over and over and over again. Now, that being said, it is only an hour long, so it doesn't ever get to the point where it's played out. The story is actually there. It does something similar to what you'd think from like Dark Souls or Bloodborne, where you just pick it up and you read an article that's on the ground or whatever, and you go through it. I would not replay this. It definitely gets to the point where it's really... There's basically a point where it's done, but you can keep playing. But the thing you can keep playing, it's literally like the developer's face on a pickle as it chases you through a hallway. So it does some really stupid stuff, and I stopped playing it at that point. But it was only $6. It's on the Steam library. You can both play it. It's shared with you. It's really quick, and I had a really good time with it. I think it does horror things very well, and some things not so much. And just when you think, I'm getting kind of tired of it, the game's done. So I think it's the perfect length for this kind of game. It's not like, what are those old ones that are really popular? There's like 1,000 of them. War Pigs. It's like a series of horror games.
Good criminy. They're ridiculously famous.
Yeah.
What are they called?
Amnesia.
Amnesia. Yep.
Yeah. It's not like Amnesia where you get sick of it and then you still have 10 hours of gameplays to get through. You're like, okay, I get what the monster is. I get what it's going to do. Let's move on. This one's an hour and has like 16 different monster types.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and even though you have a gun, you can't shoot at everything. And you can't always do the easy answer. So, like, it's a pretty good game. And it's not the best game, and I will never probably replay it. But for $6, I think it was worth it. And the entire time, I was like, man, There's one specific part that I think would scare the crap out of you, Conlon. And Lauren, I don't think you would actually be scared, but your reactions to these things, like when you play Repo, I think this would be right up your alley where you'd just be like reacting to it a lot, and that would be fun for me to watch as well.
Okay, cool. We should do it. That'd be fun.
So does this need to be like a sub thing of the YouTube where it's just us playing horror games?
That'd be
If
fun.
people wanted to do it, I would be totally down. I think that'd be a great time to watch Lauren play Outlast.
I agree completely.
Just see me throwing headphones down and running.
Like, no.
I just kick off the wall and scoot out.
That actually reminds me. Do play this game with headphones. I would love to watch you stream it if you're willing to do that. But the sound design on it is actually excellent.
Cool.
They do very good spatial audio. That's very good. There was a point in time where I was walking through a hall and somebody knocked on a door, and I wasn't scared by that because I put my headphones down and looked at my door like, who the heck is visiting me?
That's amazing. That's awesome. Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah. Sorry, game.
That is very cool. That makes a huge difference with horror. Like, you should wear headphones for horror games. Mm-hmm. It's just better.
You should be in a dark room. You should do everything you can to immerse yourself.
I'm gonna put extra lamps in my room, light it up.
She has like a still spotlight get scared on her face.
I would still be scared in the most lit room.
We just gotta
turn up the brightness on the game.
You know, when they tell you, they're like, oh, you need to adjust the settings so you can just I blast that to the highest setting. I'm like, yeah, I know what you're doing. I'll still be terrified. It's fine.
It's okay. I just gotta go break into your apartment and switch a few breakers while you're playing it.
No. No thanks.
That'll be fun. Well, let's go to our last topic, our shared topic, 12 Angry Men. Lauren, let's start with you. What do you think?
Okay, I had no expectations going into this, and I was like, oh, I'll put it on while I'm cooking, and I stopped cooking and then just like started watching because I got so sucked into this. There's the one part I didn't really get was at the end. I thought that they would like go back into the courtroom and have like this moment where they like deliver it and like the verdict and then show the boy, and then we didn't get that. It was just them walking out of the courthouse to go into the elevators, and I felt like that was very like, other than the very first shot where they're in the courtroom, they're in this room for the whole this room / bathroom for the whole movie, and then it shows the elevator scene, and I was like, oh, something's gonna happen here, and then they just kind of were like, oh, hi, my name's this, my name's that, okay, and then they leave, and then the last guy comes walking out, and I was like, I don't know if I just missed that the point there, or what that scene was all about, because I feel like they could have just done without it. But the acting was great, especially when they had the last guy who was stuck on guilty, like, kind of break down, and they're like, oh, and like, it was kind of sprinkled throughout the movie too, of like him saying stuff about his son, and like how awful his son is, and how his son hasn't seen him in 14 years, and I was only trying to do what was best for him, and stuff like that. And then like something that I kept thinking about with real cases is like how they're like, oh yeah, you need to have a jury that has different races, different ages, so that you have a mixture of everything. And this movie shows like yeah, you need all of these different backgrounds and all of these different views to bring up all of the reasons why somebody's guilty or isn't guilty, so that you can get all of these life experiences. And it was like so funny because they all go in there and they're like, guilty, let's go. And the one guy's like, wait, this guy could be killed, so let's spend more than 5 minutes to make sure we're right. And then they go through everything, and it was kind of like a murder mystery, which is weird, where they're just talking about it and then they're slowly giving you like the evidence. Like, oh, I actually really liked this movie. um and there was another, like, they keep bringing up points of why um some of the evidence isn't as like evident as they think. And at one point, when the guy, like, he's like, there's this knife that no one else, it's a very unique knife, and then the other guy like pulls out the knife and sticks it into the table. My first thought was like, oh, he's the murderer. And I thought he's like, he couldn't have murdered him because I did. And I kind of like had that feeling a little bit. I wanted him to be the murderer, and then I was like, that's a dumb reason. If he was the one to be like, he's not guilty because I'm guilty, he'd be like, oh yeah, guilty, I'm free, you know? Spoiler alert, he did not actually kill the guy, but I was like hung up on that for a while with like the knife. But in the movie, it was just to show that he's like, it's actually not as unique as you think it is. So it is possible that somebody else stabbed his father with the same knife. And then something, because I've listened to like a lot of true crime, that I wanted to keep pointing out to the jury, that I'm like, if was the son killing the dad, it would have been personal. And a lot of the times when it's something personal, they keep stabbing. So just one stab is very unusual for an intimate murder. And so like I was like, oh, when are they going to bring that up? But
You're like, I need more.
yeah, I was like, here's another reason why he's innocent. I wanted to be in the room too. But yeah, I really liked how, and it was just dialogue basically, and the dialogue was very well done. And then I liked how he didn't just sway everybody immediately. It was like he had to sway people little by little. Yeah, this was a really good movie. I'm glad you suggested it. I'm glad I watched it.
What do you think, Josh?
Okay, so I'm going to respond to Lauren first. You should watch Juror number 2.
Juror number 2. Writing it down.
Because as you were talking, when I was watching this, I kept thinking to myself, like, where have I seen this before? Like, what parodied this? Because I feel like I've seen this before. Basically, the intro to this and the intro to Juror number 2 is the exact same. It does take it in a different direction, but it starts pretty much the same. So if you liked this one and you want a little bit different of a twist, watch Juror number 2. I know I've talked about it previously on the podcast, but that was a while ago. I don't want to talk too much about it. I just want you to watch it and let me know what you think. But as for my thoughts, I realized that we never discussed which version we were going to watch.
There's 2 versions.
Yeah.
Oh, did I watch the wrong version?
I watched both. I watched both the 1950s and the 1997 version.
I was thinking you're like, there's a version where he's guilty and there's a version where he's innocent.
No, it's a remake, and the dialogue is pretty much identical. However, when you were bringing up diversity, that was going to be something that I brought up in the comparison, because in the original version, they're all old white guys.
Yep.
All of them. there is no diversity whatsoever. And honestly, that's a little bit more realistic with how juries are selected, um, because both of the lawyers basically get a room full of people and they're like, I want this one. No, I want that one. I don't want you to have that one, right? So you often get an accumulation of very similar people. But I think the diversity adds so much more to this movie. Because in the old one, you have. Okay, let me. In the 1990 version, you have the black guy that has the cold, and he's talking down on the slum people because they're poor. In the old version, because he's a old white guy, he's like just baseline racist, and that's all it is. Whereas in the new one, you get the dynamic of like he's racist against his own people because of how he views himself higher for getting out of that situation. Like it adds such another dynamic and another layer in my mind that it changes a lot. Um, Same with everybody in the newer version. I think the guy who was waiting for the baseball game, like we talked about just dialogue, but their body positioning tells you so much about their person and their character throughout the show. Like you have the foreign guy in the new one where you didn't have anybody foreign in the old one. And like anytime anybody says something frustrating or controversial, you see it on his face as he stands up and turns away, because he's the kind of person who can't just deal with it in that moment. Otherwise, he'd react too harshly. You have like I said, the baseball guy. In the old one, he's a guy, he's just sitting there, and in the new one, he's like kicking his feet up on the desk and like treating this all nonchalant, except when he gets irritated and then he stands up and he tries to stand over people. Um, so I think their body language and acting is just another notch up from the 1950s one. I'm not sure which one is revered better or thought of as better.
1950s is revered better.
I know the 1950s one has like a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes and all that kind of stuff, but like I watched the 90s one first and then watched the 1950s one a week later, and the entire time I was like, I feel like the other one's just better. Like I feel like the acting is done better. Now I will say the elevator scene at the very end, Lauren is completely right. That is way too confusing. In the old one, they're separating ways and they're just like going out on the street. In the new one, when they all get on the elevator, I was like, okay, they're going to go deliver the verdict. And then I was like, why couldn't they take the same elevator? What? Why did they have to take separate elevators to go do it? And then they rolled credits, and I was like, what? And it wasn't until I watched the old one that I was like, oh, it's symbolic of them parting ways and how there's rules about how you can't like become friends with people you're serving on a jury with, how you're supposed to remain impartial and that kind of stuff. And that's why the asking of the name is kind of like a big deal, because they're, especially at that time in the 50s, they're supposed to go by their juror number. They're not supposed to know each other's names, all that kind of stuff. But I like, other than that one little quirk about the 1990s one, if I were to rewatch one of these, and I absolutely will because it's fantastic, I'm going to watch the 1990s version. Easily.
Interesting. I've seen both of them too. And I thought they were pretty close because they're largely the same movie. And I liked the old one a little bit better, but that could be just because I watched it first. But like, you want to watch either of these movies, and I will say yes because I think they are brilliant. As far as dialogue in a movie, this is up there with the best because they are a group of men in one room, and the entire movie you're like, I need to know more. What's next? The entire time, and it is mind blowing how good these movies are. I see a lot of classics, and sometimes I'll watch them and I'll feel kind of disappointed. I watched the old version a few years ago, and I was like, I've heard this movie's great my entire life. I'll give it a shot, whatever. Absolutely blown away. Immediately after watching that one, I watched the other version because I was like, they can't have improved on that. There's no possible way. And I can see the argument that you make, Josh. I thought it was really good with the acting and how race played a part in that second movie and why you would like it better. I think those are some good arguments. But they're both just so damn good, I don't even care. I would watch both of them anytime. Easy nines for me. Easy. Probably like a 9.5. These are some of my favorite movies of all time. And I'm glad you guys liked it as much as you did.
Oh, like if I had only seen the old one, I would have liked it. The dialogue is really strong, but there's things in it that bothered me enough. I don't think it would have been a rewatchable thing for me.
Like what?
So in the new one, you have like the older guy with the cane, who the juror number 7 has to keep, or 8 has to keep calming down. In the old one, every time he talks, it's a straight on shot of just his face. And he says something in a very creepy demeanor. And I found that really off putting because I'm like, this isn't a horror film. You don't need the pale white guy to be like, did you see me sleeping? I could not sleep in that way. And it's like, he's the only one shot like that, right? The rest of them are all interacting with each other, but every time he talks, it's just
like,
his face and it's straight on and he's staring directly into the camera. I'm like, why are you doing this? And then like the other thing that like really jumped out to me in a very direct comparison is the knife scene where they're testing out the height of the knife and they're like, see, look like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the new one, he plunges forward and you feel like he might take this chance to stab this guy for ruining his day. Like, you feel that. And you feel that reaction in the room. And in the old one, he cocks his arm back a little bit and everybody's like, and I'm like, no, because that's what he was doing. You wouldn't be reacting to that in that way. So like that very, very clearly thing, those small things is like, I really liked the dialogue and the old one is still really, really good. It's just like, because of specifically the guy who they only shot straight on. I don't know why they made that decision, but he's only shot straight on. I would be like, I really, really liked it. But man, that was really off putting and I'm not going to watch it again.
They just have a couple old movie techniques, old movie quirks that make it just feel old.
Yeah.
Because that's old movie quirk type stuff.
Yeah. As for like analyzing the actual case itself, it's very interesting.
Super interesting.
I really liked it because they're analyzing the case and they're trying to figure it out, which is what a jury should do.
And they spend the time, like the whole dialogue spends the time to be able really to dig into it in a very smart way.
Yeah.
It's just, I think this movie is brilliant.
Yeah. I love where he says, they're like, I already told you. And he's like, yes, but we're still divided. So let's do it again until we know. And then they would keep redoing things until they would realize something like, oh wait, she wore glasses. So she couldn't have actually 100% seen that it was him that stabbed him. But yeah.
Well, yeah, but I was just going to go into like my argument against this movie is they don't focus on the actual purpose of a jury. Like, they're not detectives, so they should have been talking more about like, is there doubt, not is he actually guilty? Because that's the way our court system's set up to be. Like, did the persecution prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed the murder? Like, that's what it should be. They mention it in the show, but they don't actually talk that way, which was like the only thing I could nitpick and be like, that was not really emphasized like I feel like it should have. Like when
I feel
Lauren's
like-
freaking out, being like, "Why are they not talking about this true crime thing?" I was sitting there like, "Why are they not really talking about probability?" Like they try and actually deduce, could she have seen it, versus
Is
is
there
it
reasonable
possible she
doubt
had
that she
seen?
didn't,
Yeah,
or that she
like
did?
nobody's like, okay, she saw something. She's not completely blind. Is there enough doubt to say she might have seen somebody else?
Yeah.
Same with the old man. Is there enough doubt that even if he did get to the door in time, with him being tired and the guy being running away, could he actually confirm that identity? Um, just those small little things. But that's honestly just a nitpick. I still absolutely love the show.
I thought that was the whole point of the show, was that the one guy who said not guilty from the very beginning was because he's like, it's not, no shadow of a doubt do I believe he did that. He's like, I do have doubts. And everybody else is like, well, no, everything was evidence. And he's like, well, suppose that they're wrong. And then I felt like he was doing the detective work to show them that there is doubt. So that's what I thought the whole movie was about, was to show that point of there is doubt and that it's not black and white.
I completely agree with Lauren. But I see what Josh is saying. They don't talk the way of, is there doubt? It's like they could have changed the phrasing a little bit, but the point of the story is to be like, there's doubt here, there's doubt here, there's doubt here, there's doubt here, and build up a doubt ladder until the entire thing comes crumbling down.
Yeah, because they kept saying, they're like, this happened. And he's like, but suppose it doesn't.
Right, but I mean, that's where I just think it's taken a little bit too far, right? Like, I agree with you. It's about establishing doubt. But I think the outcome of the show is to say there's so much doubt he's not guilty. Right? That's the outcome. They're detectives. They're not jurors at that point, right? They establish using assumptions to assign guilty or not guilty, rather than is there reasonable doubt versus is he, it's a fine line, but I feel like they crossed the line into detectives and actually say he didn't do it. And I'm like, no, it's just there's enough doubt
that he didn't.
Yeah. And then I think you did say, they did mention it once, and like the line I'm thinking of is when they're like, well, then who did do it? And they're like, that's not our job. That's the police. We're not trying to figure out who did it. We're trying to see if there's doubt that he did do it. But yeah. Cool.
I think you both have good points on that, honestly. Anyway, that's going to be our episode, guys. If you haven't seen 12 Angry Men, absolutely watch it. If you haven't seen MASH, absolutely watch it. Spiritferer, if you're into that kind of game, do it. And greatest spear run ever, way better than it has any right to be. We appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you have anything you want us to watch, let us know. See you guys. Peace out. Bye.